Welcome to Lunch Dope. I am Mexican Joe, your host. I love hip hop, rap, movies, and toys from the 90s. Today, we're going to talk about Snoop Doggy Dogg, the debut album, Doggystyle. It was released on November 23rd, 1993. I was 12 years old. I, of course, knew of Snoop Doggy Dogg from the Chronic album. I remember seeing it all over MTV. Well, when I had cable, if it wasn't disconnected. And I had no business listening to this. I was only 12 years old. But I really loved rap and hip hop. And at the time, I really loved West Coast rap. That was what I got introduced to, of course, when I was really young, which by NWA. And then, of course, watching MTV, Ain't Nothing But a G Thing, the Chronic album, and Dre Day, where Snoop Doggy Dogg was featured on both of those songs. So I was definitely familiar with Snoop Doggy Dogg and definitely did love his style and did love the West Coast. So to this day, West Coast was the first introduction to rap. But once I was able to talk with other friends, I was able to watch other videos that were on MTV. Then I was able to, expand to, let's say, the East Coast, the down south, your Rap-A-Lot records, so on and so forth. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about Doggystyle, the debut album that came out in 1993. So, I had no business listening to this. I was 12 years old, but I loved rap, especially West Coast rap. And I never owned this CD. I always owned just the CD singles. So I had the CD single for Gin and Juice, and then Who Am I? What's My Name? That's what the singles that I had. My mom could never afford to buy me the whole CD. And the CD singles were only like $2 or $3. So, I would always ask my mom for cassette singles, once in a while. Otherwise, I had, mixtapes that a homie made or that I made. I'd be like, yo, let me borrow the, so and so CD so I can dub it. You're old when you're saying, yo, can I dub it? All right, let's go ahead and let's start off on the track list. If you do remember the infamous CD with Snoop Doggy Dogg on there, it was blue. Fun little fact, on the back of this CD, it has that little BMG logo on here. If you remember getting 12 CDs for a penny under multiple names, if you know, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, got the infamous CD cover of the cartoon. Then we have Snoop Dogg on here. Now there's other cartoon pictures that may not be appropriate for me to watch, so we're just gonna go ahead and keep it moving with the track list. All right, here we go. All right, now this is usually a no skip CD if I have time. If I do not have time, then I'm gonna probably be skipping over a few. But if I have time, like I said, no skips. All right, we have The Bathtub, and that's the little introduction. Now, the first song to kick it off is going to be the G-Funk intro. Super dope. I love it. One of the best intros that I like, or that is one of my favorites of any CD that came out in 1993. All right. The next one is going to be Gin and Juice, and that's going to be featuring Daz. Now, Gin and Juice, again, I had the cassette single for that one. The Shiznit, dope song. Love that song. Lottie Dottie, we likes to party. We don't cause no trouble. We're just a couple of do-do-do-do-do-do. Murder Was the Case. All right, now Murder Was the Case was a song on this CD, but they ended up making a movie into it and then having a soundtrack to that movie, if you remember. All right, Now, for all my N's and all my B's, and that is featuring the Dog Pound and the Lady of Rage. Afro Puffs, Lady of Rage. All right, and then Ain't No Fun. Now, this is a party song. If you play it, you know, I remember playing this song like when I was in high school. Everyone's, having a good time, drinking, whatever. And this song comes on, everybody's freaking singing it. Such an iconic song. You're just singing it, having a lot of fun. If you know, you know. But yeah, it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Such a dope song. Uh, Doggy Dog World. This is a really dope video. I love that video. It's so dope. Um, Gin and Juice. They also made a video for, and then Who Am I was the singles that and Doggy Dog World were the singles off of this CD. Because usually, I do believe that they usually had 3 songs, and those were only singles, and that's it. So now we go over to G's and Hustlers. And that is also a really good song. And then it ends it with Pump, 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 Pump. That's a really dope song. And I remember as I got older, and then when we were able to drive, or not necessarily me, but the homies, because my mom couldn't afford the classes for me, we would be bumping this song, this CD like crazy, or the tape, of course, if there was only a tape deck. But yeah, it was super dope just to have this CD. And I actually found it at a, let's see, it was like a vintage sale, or not necessarily vintage sale, but it was like a gathering of people, a bunch of people selling vintage stuff. And then I was like, what? I'm like, you guys are selling this for like $3? I'm like, dude, I'll take it. A lot of people collect vinyl. I don't. I'm more of a fan of the actual CD. I love the album covers and reading all the credits and everything like that. Not that the vinyls don't have that, but I love that, you can open it, you can look at the CD, and then you actually have the full booklet. As far as I know, I do have some vinyls. They don't have all this stuff that the CDs have, but I wasn't playing vinyls back in the day. I was playing tapes and I was playing CDs. Those were the two things that we were bumping in the homie's car, or at the homie's house, or in the Walkman. And I just have so many memories of me getting older and me still bumping the crap out of the CD. Love it. It was it was it was a classic. I mean, it's still a classic. I love it all day, every day. And of course, the whole album was produced by Dr. Dre. I could have swore the G Funk intro was produced by Warren G. I'd have to go back, or maybe I can look here right now and see if I can find the credits. As far as I know, I think it's just this cartoon. That's kind of inappropriate. But as I'm looking on here, I don't see anything on here about the additional production. But when you listen to G Funk intro, it just sounds like a Warren G beat. I'm just saying. Which I think 1994 was when he came out with Regulate. 1993 or 1994. But anyways, this is an amazing album. I love it. You can listen to it if you have the time. I listen to it all the way through. And yeah, I got a lot of memories, especially the cassette single memories. And man, sometimes I would just have my super cheap Walkman. Like, I mean, I'm talking about, it was cheap, cheap. I don't know what brand it was, but I mean, it was cheap, cheap. But like, I didn't care. Like, my mama bought it for me, and I flossed it. I didn't care. I had cheap earphones. I had a cheap Walkman, but man, I could listen to that mixtape walking all over town, just chilling. the town was only like 3,000 people or whatever, but or 4,000 people, and we just walked around downtown and walked to the homie's house, in the winter, the summer, the fall, the whatever. But it wasn't like a Sony Walkman or whatever. It had to be like uh, Koss, maybe Koss. It was some cheap brand, but it was the only thing that my mama could afford. So like, I could never be upset at what she could afford to actually buy me. So yeah, this is an iconic CD. Uh, 1993. What else came out in 1993? Wu Tang. Um, Maybe next time I will put a list of other CDs that came out in 1993 instead of me trying to think about it. But yeah, tell me your greatest memories of this CD. Tell me about the cassette single if you did have it, or the CD single if you remember that. You could get those for $2 or $3. But yeah, I mean, Death Row Records, after the Chronic was just crazy. They were putting out all kinds of albums, and the Lady of Rage, Snoop Doggy Dogg, Dr. Dre, Murder Was the Case, the Dog Pound, the DOC, and yeah, just nothing but good memories. And again, I had no business listening to this kind of music, but all I know is that I loved it. I don't think my mom knew what parental advisory was, but my bad. She still bought me the cassette singles. I don't think a lot of parents knew that. But yeah, let me know if your favorite memories, what your favorite tracks are. If it's a no skip, let me know in the comments. Yeah, so that's it. Let's go ahead and let's see what else we got here. All right, so I appreciate your time. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for visiting my YouTube channel. Mexican Joe is dope. Here is a hoodie that is available on Amazon. You can click on the link that I will put in the description if you would like some merch. And I've always wanted to be a rapper. I've always wanted to be an MC, but I was never any good at it. But I was really good at writing poetry. And I actually have books of poetry that I self published on Amazon. Now, when you click on my link tree, it'll take you right to the Mexican Joe is Dope merch. That'll be like the first link. But if you go to the last link, that one's Jose Aguillon Jr., which is my real name. And that will take you, if you click on that last link, it'll take you to the actual link tree that has all my poetry stuff. So if you want to go ahead and support me, you can go ahead and you can do that as well. A lot of it is sad poetry, but a lot of it is, or towards the end, which is this book right here, because it's a trilogy. You have Chapman Road, Pole Road, and then Moreland Avenue. That is the one that's more sad. The Green Notebook is something totally different. I was trying to create a trilogy right here. But if you do like those kinds of things, you like to read, you like poetry, rap, rhythm, and poetry, go ahead and check it out. Again, it's the last link on my link tree that will be on the description. You can go ahead and you can check it out, and it'll say Jose Aguillon, or it'll say Jose Aguillon Poetry on the link tree. That link tree will give you all the information that you need of where you can find the books on Amazon. But yeah, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I appreciate the love that you guys are showing me on YouTube. I am doing there better than I am doing on TikTok. And my TikTok was popping for a long time, but my YouTube shorts are doing really good. And I usually am now posting longer content, as in Lunch Dope, this solo podcast. So I appreciate your time. And with that, I would like to say that time is the most valuable thing that you can give someone. So make sure that you give it to the people that you love, give it to the people that you truly care about. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Peace and love. Mexican Joe is out.